Welcome to the Blatchford Coaching Systems Podcast, where we share over 40 years of wisdom on the business of dentistry. We help maximize efficiency, minimize stress, and give dentists a better life-work balance.
Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Chris Salerno. I'm the Chief Editor for Dental Economics, and thank you for joining me for a special podcasting event. I had the great pleasure a little over a year ago of sitting down with Dr. Bill Blatchford and discuss his book, No Nonsense Transitions. That was just a wonderful read, and I learned a ton about the transitions process. He answered all the tough questions, and now I am very fortunate to be able to sit down with him again and also his daughter, Dr. Christina Blatchford, and discuss their new book, Bringing Your A-Game 2.0. So Dr. Bill, Dr. Christina, thanks for joining me today. How you guys doing?
Wonderful. Thanks so much for inviting us. We're happy to be here.
Yes, thank you, Chris.
Oh, it's my absolute pleasure. I just finished reading the book on an airplane last week. So again, this is Bringing Your A-Game 2.0. It was a quick read, and I'll tell you, I'm more of an audiobook and podcast kind of guy these days, and it is available also on audiobook, so I highly recommend that as well. But I loved reading this. There were just so many wonderful stories. This is an interesting approach for a book because it's just going right to your clients, dentists, practicing dentists, success stories, and you get to see their whole journey. It was just a real fun way to learn and see how, you guys have some great approaches and strategies that we'll be discussing in the next hour. And there really is somewhat of a customization that goes on. Every office is unique and different, right? I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a challenge, is that, you're not looking to make every office the exact same thing. Every office has its own challenges, and you must spend some time trying to figure out the right approach for each practice. Is that right?
Well, you're exactly right. And that's the approach we take, because every doctor and every practice is unique and different. There's nothing cookie cutter about our approach. And that is what makes it totally unique in the dental coaching business.
That's great. And it's, there are universal goals. We all would like to make more money and decrease busyness, increase productivity. But as we'll see in a second, as we just start diving into these case studies, there really are unique challenges that each one presents. So again, I can't recommend this book enough. I really enjoyed reading it. So for the doctors who took the time to listen to this podcast, Dr. Blatchford has agreed to reward you for your time investment and make this book available to you for free at blatchford.com/free book. You'll also get to see some of the dentists that were interviewed for this book and their firsthand accounts as well. Just a fantastic resource. The book is loaded with great new patient systems and strategies. Actually, there are case studies from 15 different doctors who are into almost every marketing niche you can imagine: dental implants, cosmetic dentistry, sedation, laser, same-day dentistry, but even a lot of good old bread and butter dentistry. But the one we're going to be focusing on today is perhaps the most under-the-radar niche in dentistry, and that's sleep apnea. So I'm excited. I can't wait to start diving in, so let's just do it. One of the many stories that really struck me was from Dr. Richard Dunn in Elmira, New York. So this was someone who was having some success and had a nice, healthy practice. But the opportunity that you guys found there was really interesting. And I think this is a common situation for a lot of dentists out there. You're having success, things are going well, but you just crave a little more, right? And this particular office did very well with the hot topic today, and that's sleep apnea. So can you guys tell me a little bit about that particular journey for him and how you made sleep apnea work for him? And as a bonus, at the end of the podcast, Dr. Blatchford has given me permission to play Chapter 1 from Bringing Your A-Game 2.0, which is Dr. Dunn's story directly from the audiobook version.
Well, Chris, this is a great example. Dr. Dunn is like a lot of dentists. Net was good. He was working a lot of days, however. Now, a lot of days to us is probably less than what a lot of doctors are thinking. He was working about 180 days. But Rick was at a point, he'd been practicing roughly 25 years, pretty comfortable, but he really wanted to go to that next level. And one of the things that I have looked at for a long time is different ways to grow practices. And there's a lot of emphasis out there in the marketplace on various ways to market. And, one of the things that I found is it's better and this may sound a little strange first time you hear it, but it's better to be different than to be better. And so many dentists, I think they try to market in their marketplace that they're better. We do high-quality dentistry in a warm, caring environment. Well, that's what everybody says. Everybody does quality dentistry. But mine's better. Mine's higher quality. And while that may be the truth, but how do you market that? How's the public perceive that? And I have said for years that you've got to have something unique and market something different than everyone else in your marketplace is doing. And probably 15 years ago, I started looking at some of these things that made practice really unique. And this was before there was any talk at all about sleep apnea. But my eyes were opened by a couple of my clients that are well known in the sleep apnea circles, nationally, internationally known. And I saw what they were doing, and I saw how they were helping people, and I saw the numbers they were producing. And so for Dr. Dunn, we suggested, how about sleep apnea? And he said, well, I am interested in that. And one of the reasons that he's sleep apnea, he has family members who are suffering from sleep apnea. And so he really got involved. He got involved in the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. And one of the things that we found from that is that 1 in 4 adults have some form of obstructive sleep apnea. Now, this is a contributing factor to type 2 diabetes, to debilitating strokes, to heart attacks, and the list goes on and on. That's 1 in 4 adults. I mean, you think about your practice. Well, it's right, this is right under your nose. And so at this point, what we've done with him is we helped him develop marketing, internal and external, but a lot of internal. Remember, 1 in 4 of your patients is suffering from this. And so we helped him with that. And so he's now averaging about 13 a month. And the profit, and this is what I teach. I teach practice management, so we teach profitability, and it's about $2,500 a case. His goal, and he does this from time to time, he will hit 20 a month, and sometimes he does 20 a month. Well, there's $50,000 of profit, and he's not the only one. We have several clients that are doing this kind of thing. But we've helped with his radio spots, his internal referrals, newspaper ads. But I think more importantly, we helped with his developing referral sources from the medical community. And that's really how to develop a referral network. And you've got to have doctors out there that recognize you as an expert and refer to you for this. And it is phenomenal. And I think not just from the profitability, but the number of people you're actually helping live a healthier life.
Yes, Chris. So we've helped hundreds of different doctors all across North America incorporate sleep apnea into their practices. And it really is a game changer. It is something that we can help these doctors tap into because it's already in their practices. This is really a situation that we see across the board in the American population right now, that sleep apnea is prevalent. And so these are patients that are already in their practice. And so that makes it really easy to make sleep apnea part of their practice. One of the things that doctors have told me over the years that they really love about sleep apnea is that it is a life-saving procedure. Creating these oral appliances can really save patients' lives, which is huge. And, a lot of these dentists told me that's exactly why I wanted to get into dentistry in the first place, was to change lives and save lives even. So it really is, it's an amazing service to provide for these patients.
I want to come back to that work-life balance note that you just hit upon, because that is a recurring theme in your book, and I think it's a great message. But before we come back to that, I'd love to hear a little more about the internal and the external marketing. As I mentioned before, sleep apnea is a very hot topic right now, and maybe some dentists took a course somewhere for a couple of hours, a half-day course. They learned to take some impressions, and they didn't really dive deep into educating themselves. So I'm glad you mentioned getting proper training, Academy of Dental Sleep Medicine, that sort of a thing. But even let's just say a dentist does have all of the, checked all the boxes and really is well informed about how to diagnose and treat this, that doesn't mean his existing patients or potential new patients know that they do this, and they still might not be able to treat very many cases at all, right? So this is one of those dental procedures that we have to do a lot of education about, right? So, you spent some time really creating a marketing plan with Dr. Dunn, and that's really the payoff from all of that continuing education to learn how to do it in the first place. So, how did it work? Can you tell me just a little bit about internal marketing, how that worked with his existing body of patients, and also then what you might have done externally to help get the word out to new patients?
Well, Chris, this all started, I've had about 15 years of working with this, with doctors that have gone to the courses and learned how to treat sleep apnea. But most of them I find are not doing it. Maybe they'll do the occasional, one every other month or one a month or something.
Right.
Like that. And they come in and say, I've tried this, Bill, but it's just not worth the time. And I say, well, let's learn how to present it. And one thing, it's a little bit different than presenting dentistry, and this is what we had to work out. Without going into our whole thing about presenting dentistry as an option, which, if you've listened to me before, you know that I believe that most dentistry is optional, but this is a condition that actually causes people to die or to be very unhealthy. And so I developed a script, and we started teaching staffs how to do this, go through this script with patients. It's a very simple script, and let's pretend that we're in hygiene. And the hygienist starts out, and the hygienist is working with a patient who's been in your practice for years. Now, one thing I will say about this, it does not have to be an overweight, middle-aged male. It can be anybody. We have children, or we have people who are thin, we have male and female. So it doesn't really matter, so you don't want to be too selective. But I just start with a very simple question. We've never asked you this question before, but do either you or your spouse or partner snore? And the answer is yes, many times. You'd be amazed how many the answer is yes. Now, if the answer is yes, does it keep you awake at night? Well, if the answer is yes to snoring, and they know the person is snoring, there's obviously keeping them awake at night. And so it does wake them up. And when this person is snoring, does it ever sound like he stops breathing? Yes. As a matter of fact, it scares me to death sometimes. And so it sounds a lot like sleep apnea. Our doctor has taken several courses in sleep apnea recently. Do you know anything about sleep apnea? No, not really. Well, it increases your chance of stroke by about 70%. It's about the same percentage of fatal heart attacks. As a matter of fact, many people who die theoretically in their sleep of a heart attack is actually caused by sleep apnea. It's a major contributor to type 2 diabetes. And if you would like to, once you schedule an appointment, and we'll have you come in and we'll send you home with an in-home sleep testing device, and we'll find out. And if there's sleep apnea, we will send you to a sleep specialist. And, very often this can be treated with a very simple appliance, kind of like a retainer, the person wears at night. Now, sometimes the doctors prescribe the CPAP, which is the air pump, and wear a mask and that sort of thing. And if you know anybody that's using a CPAP that mentions it, about 70% of the people that have the CPAP prescribed find it intolerable and don't use it. And very often an oral appliance will suffice. Would you like to go ahead and make an appointment for this person? Very simple conversation. And amazing how many people we turn up within the current practice's patient base. I mean, they're already there. It's not like you have to go out to find them. And then the next step, of course, is once you start getting some success with this, and you start building some confidence, and you're starting to see the results of some of the appliance therapy, and now you're starting to get the confidence and the background to go out and start approaching the medical community in your area. And this is where you really want to spend the time educating the medical personnel. And I think one of the things that I point out here all the time, it don't stop if you can't get the doctor in the audience. Go down, take sandwiches over sit down with the team during their lunch break and cover this with the team in the medical office, because they're very often the ones who are making these referrals and making suggestions and that sort of thing. So, but you have to get out there and do it. And then, of course, once you start doing that, then, of course, you can take it to the public, newspaper, internet, all the traditional methods of marketing. But it is phenomenal what the amount of it that's out there, and it's virtually untreated.
I love that real strategy of start with the internal marketing, a very simple script. I love that you mentioned that your hygienist can bring this up. I think that's really when you go to the next level as a practice offering sleep apnea, when you have all of these systems working together. You have your team members, like a hygienist, comfortable bringing up sleep apnea with your patients. You've got your billing, your collections, your internal and external referral networks and physicians. All of these systems are running smoothly. That's when you're going to be doing many cases a month. That's a very logical plan of attack there. I think.
Well, Chris, it's simple,
fantastic,
and it's a way to build your confidence. It's a way to start speaking to patients who already know and trust you, and so you start building there before you go out. And because what I find is so many doctors, they've taken the courses, and yet they're not doing it, as like I said earlier. And this is a way that it's easy. And then you've got to get your team involved. You've got to get your team involved. And then part of that getting the team involved is, sometimes, and we've had this happen so many times, it's unbelievable, but many times we start talking about with the teams, we say, oh, yeah. And one of the team, oh, yeah, my husband snores like a freight train. Well, let's have him come in. And sometimes we have found that in one case in particular, I can remember a team member came to me at a seminar and said, this has just been phenomenal in our practice. My husband and I were now sleeping in separate bedrooms, and so they had the sleep test, and it was a mild case, loud snoring, but a mild case of obstructive apnea, and simple appliance. And she came to me at another seminar a few months later and said, "This has just been phenomenal, and it's great." And then she says, "No, it's better than great." So I thought, okay. So so now we've got an enthusiastic team member, you see, who can now start to talk to patients with a lot of conviction because she's experienced the benefit of this. Through our customized coaching program, we show you how to design a program just for you and your team to make sleep apnea one of the top profit centers in your practice. Chris, we have doctors that are generating up to 25% of their monthly net profit on something that when the doctors and team are both coached correctly, it takes less than 10% of the doctor's time. How's that for efficiency? Do the math on that one. That's a game changer.
Well, this all sounds great, but for the skeptical dentist out there listening, and I know there's a few skeptics out there who would really love to hear how this worked in the doctor's own words, in Dr. Dunn's own words. Through the magic of editing, I'm going to play now a 2-minute clip of Dr. Dunn talking about how the Blatchford coaching system has worked for him, so we can hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Here it is.
Hi, I'm Dr. Richard Dunn from Elmira, New York. I've been with Blatchford Solutions since about the end of 2012, so it was 2013 in January that we started implementing many of the changes. I think one of the things that I learned from Blatchford Solutions and from Dr. Blatchford was to think differently about things, think differently about myself, and perhaps how I could brand myself differently. Were there other areas of dentistry or medicine that I could get involved in? And one was sleep apnea. And that has become a passion for me. I've since become a diplomat in the American Board of Dental Sleep Medicine, and I'm trying to transition a major part of my practice into sleep. So, others of you out there may have different purple cows, other things that you want to go chase. He will help you to understand how to do it. When I first met with the Blatchfords, well, let me back it up a second. I was skeptical when I first looked at a lot of their information material as to what they could do for me. And I sort of let it sit for a little bit, but then just decided that I had to make changes. So pre-Blatchford, when I met with them, I was an office a staff of 17 with runaway overhead, stress, management issues, and we had payroll overhead that was over 40%, and pretty much was just working to hit payroll all the time. The number of staff of 17 included an associate dentist. And at that time, I was taking about 2 weeks off a year, max, and working pretty much 4 days a week, 4 full days a week, and was averaging, I would say about $70,000 a month in production. And post-Blatchford, I am now a team of 5. I no longer have the associate dentist because I realized that I really wanted to practice by myself. We've become highly focused. I no longer have a staff, I now have a team. And we really work together daily, monthly to hit our goals. Our average production now, collections, is 130,000 plus a month. The payroll has decreased down to about 24%. I have 2 hygienists. And overall overhead for the office has tremendously diminished. So we're smaller, we're leaner. We've essentially doubled our production and collections. I now take, last BAM year, I took over 9 weeks off from the practice, from 2. My team all gets 5 to 6 weeks off. They used to have 2, so they're very happy. And they've never missed a bonus since we've started. So we're highly focused. And there are times when things are down, but we have found that when we work collectively as a team, which we never seemed to be able to do before, we're able to meet our goals and surpass them. But, I think the other thing that Blatchford gives you is it's not just about the money and the bottom line. It's about the quality of your life and understanding what the important things are in life. And for me, as I'm getting older, it's to spend more time with my family, travel. And that has just been huge. I'm stress-free now. I never feel like I don't want to go into the office. When I first met with Bill and Carolyn Blatchford, I was contemplating leaving dentistry. Now, as people ask me, when are you going to retire? I say, I don't know. I'm having too much fun. Why should I retire? When I come off of a vacation, which I generally take every 7 to 8 weeks, I take at least a week off. This summer, my wife and I went on a 2-week road trip and time off. I never regret coming back to the office. I'm ready. That's how relaxed I am. That was not the case before. When I had that vacation, it was like, I can't believe I got to go back to work tomorrow. Now I'm ready to go back. So the transformation has been huge. I can't recommend this enough. It's not for everyone. But if you're in a situation where you feel you need to make change, not only professionally, but personally, this is a program for you to look at.
Something else I want to offer as a bonus to any doctor listening is a real easy way to get instant access to Dr. Blatchford's free report entitled 7 Internal and External Marketing Mistakes Most Dentists Make in Sleep Apnea and How to Avoid Them. Here's how easy it is to get a digital copy of that report right now on your cell phone or any device. Simply text Dr. Blatchford at 541-397-0977 and then simply text the word sleep. The text number to get that sleep apnea marketing report is 541-397-0977 and then text the word sleep. And you'll be sent the report to your personal email. It's cool technology. You'll get instant access to this report on exactly what to do to get more sleep apnea patients right now. It's really very inspirational, the work that both of you do, and just I can't thank you enough for what you offer. I know I've just had a great time speaking with you both. I always learn a ton when I read your books, it's some of my favorite dental literature out there. Really is. It's required reading, in my opinion. So for those of you that are listening, again, you can go to blatchford.com/free book. You can hear some firsthand accounts from some of the dentists that were interviewed in this book. And you can also, of course, get the audio book, which is wonderful if you're like me and constantly in your car. And there's a bonus CD with that book, with the audio book, that goes into those power questions. So, Dr. Bill, Dr. Christina, I can't thank you enough. Again, everything you do for dentistry and for taking the time today.
Well, thank you so much. And we'd like to say that if any doctor is listening to this podcast today, would like to speak with either one of us one-on-one, doctor to doctor, where we can look at all of your systems, including sales, marketing, patient systems, new patient systems, collections, scheduling, all the systems at no cost, you can call us at 866-495-7080, or you can email us at info@blatchford.com.
Terrific. Well, thank you both for taking the time today, and we'll see you again soon.
Have a good day.
Okay, thank you so much.
Well, that brings us to the end of the podcast, and as promised, here is Chapter 1 from Bringing Your A-Game 2.0, Retire As You Go, Dr. Richard Dunn's story. We'll end the podcast with this bonus. Thanks again for listening.
Chapter 1, Retire As You Go, Dr. Richard Dunn. When Dr. Dunn came to Blatchford at age 58, he was disillusioned about dentistry with a staff of 17 and owned a management nightmare. He even suggested a new path. An internet marketing venture with his son would be his future. He thought of giving up dentistry. He was ready to retire before he met Dr. Blatchford. Now he has a team of 5 and he feels stronger as a leader. He feels empowered. Now he does dentistry and comes home a positive separation. He has set a new tone for patient care and fun. The team is more productive than ever, Dr. Dunn proudly proclaims. He makes strong points about Blatchford coaching. Falling in love again with dentistry and no longer stressed. Finding the reason for being a dentist. Became a better dentist by being more relaxed and focused. Being around so many outstanding clinicians and Blatchford coaches have been a positive force that encourages us to strive to always be better to ascend to the top of our profession. Life is great. I am reinvigorated. Dr. Dunn practices in Elmira, New York, population 35,000 with 30 dentists. One of several things that brand his practice is the treatment of sleep apnea. He had been interested in sleep medicine as he is also a patient. When Dr. Dunn started with Blatchford Coaching in 2012, Dr. Blatchford asked him if he'd be interested in offering sleep apnea treatment to his patients. Dr. Blatchford explained how he's coached hundreds of clients on how to integrate sleep apnea into their practices and add 10 to 15 new patients per month in this niche. Bill explained that many of these Blatchford clients are now generating up to 25% of their monthly net profits from sleep apnea alone. Bill explained that with the Blatchford sleep apnea system, there's a lot of sharing among clients. This sharing includes tips and strategies, including medical billing tips, internal and external marketing, case presentation scripts, and everything to make it all work. Dr. Dunn has become a diplomat of the American Board of Dental Sleep Medicine. There are about 270 diplomats, and it takes 2 to 2.5 years to obtain these credentials. What it has done for Dr. Dunn is increased his enthusiasm, interest, and expertise in sleep medicine, and created a mutual respect and credibility to discuss sleep medicine with all branches of medicine. Dr. Dunn is now an equal to physicians in his knowledge and interest. He is receiving the majority of his referrals for sleep medicine from physicians in the area, especially from 2 different pulmonary groups in Elmira. He also uses radio ads, plus referrals from internal marketing as well as health fairs. Dr. Blatchford plays a key role in helping Dr. Dunn develop all of his marketing, down to the specific offers and specific calls to action. Dr. Dunn feels this advice makes all the difference in the world to help him consistently attract quality new patients every single month. He has 4 sleep testing devices for patients to take home, with ability for a sleep physician to monitor the results. Dr. Dunn has done lunch and learns in specialty practices, and now his team effectively does lunch and learns with other team members. He has also spoken to board-certified sleep physicians, and a group of general dentists in the area refer to Dr. Dunn. He admits it's a slow process to gain credibility. One has to expand referring circles. He now has a physical therapist who does TMJ work and is now referring to Dr. Dunn for sleep apnea. His goal is 20 sleep cases a month. For Dr. Dunn, sleep apnea has a $3,200 case value, and team completes 95% of the work. He works on acknowledging referrals, and constant communication is key, especially with physicians. Dr. Dunn feels he is branded by how he and his team treat patients. They work on their phone skills. Doctor calls patients at night, and the night before a new patient comes in, Dr. Dunn calls to see if they might have some questions. The result is a quicker bond before they have ever met Dr. Dunn. The conversations start quickly. A merger was a positive result for Dr. Dunn. He did not buy equipment, and he did not criticize the selling doctor's work. Bill coached Dr. Dunn to offer a flat fee per chart when patients came into his office. The selling doctor had 3 failed attempts at selling his practice, so there were not a ton of patients, but nearly 400 great patients with tremendous dental needs arrived at Dr. Dunn's door. Bill coached him to go slow with conversations about treatment. Instead, make a friend by evaluating patients and prioritizing treatment. The merging practice was on the opposite side of town, about a 25-mile drive from many of the patients. Most patients said to Dr. Dunn, "I knew all along that he wanted to retire, but was comfortable
If you
with
like
the
what
doctor."
you heard on today's show and are curious about
Dr.
how our
Dunn's
systems
second
can be
favorite treatment
customized for
is
your
restoring
practice,
implants.
schedule a call to
He
speak
does
with one
not
of our
do the
doctor
surgery,
coaches.
as he works
Simply go to
closely with great oral surgeons in
blatchford.com/call.
town.
No
He
pressure,
has toyed
no
with doing
BS,
implant
just an
training,
honest
but it works so
conversation
well
to
right
see if
now,
we can
he
help
has
you.
not taken that
Over
step.
the years, more than
His office
4,000
goal
dentists
is
made the same
$12,000
call
a day,
and discovered how
working
Blatchford
3.5
coaching
days a week
transformed their
with 9 weeks of
profitability, their
vacation.
practice, and their lives.
Bonus,
Go
his
to
staff has never missed a BAM
blatchford.com/call.
bonus since he has been
Thanks
with
for listening.
Blatchford, and averages $1,000 plus per month with highs of $3,000 plus per month. That's per month per team member. You can't imagine what this does to foster loyalty amongst team members, says Dr. Dunn. Dr. Dunn is so pleased with the changes in his practice. He sees more years of profitability and pleasure. He sees quite a number of older dentists in Elmira and more mergers in the curtains. Dr. Richard Dunn has taken the concept of retire as you go and made a life skill out of it. He is in love with dentistry, excited about the new changes, takes excellent continuing education, and can see he could continue to practice into his 70s. Many important factors are creating an opportunity for dentists to practice their skills years beyond the normal retirement age. Because of changes in our demographics, economics, longevity, and renewed passion for dentistry, we have reached a new career opportunity in what we call the Retire As You Go program. 65-year-old dentists are saying, "I wish I had these materials 30 years ago and that I was 30 years younger. This is great fun." The paradigm can shift as to what constitutes a dental practice, when you work, who will work with you, and what treatments you will render. Every person's retirement dream is different. As with dentists, there is no set box you must fit. The true Retire As You Go program is filled with personal choice. As you reach middle age, you have earned a reputation of excellence and probably been a standard in a community for 25 years. Dr. Dunn says if you are considering retirement, regardless of your age, strongly consider calling Dr. Blatchford if you want to significantly improve your final 2 to 3 years. You'll make a lot more and you'll work a lot less. It's all about Dr. Blatchford's super efficient systems and high-level coaching. With their customized coaching, they will essentially put your practice on steroids by showing you how to work smarter, not harder. The bottom line is this: if you do work with Dr. Blatchford, I guarantee that you will significantly increase your selling price for what you could expect to get today. Retire as you go means your days of practicing full out 4 days a week, 10-hour days are over. Our longevity is not ours to choose. However, you can still make some smart choices and plans. Ask yourself for the future 3 questions. Who am I? What do I do? For whom do I do it? Then think long and hard about what patients you have enjoyed the most, what treatments still offer intrigue, and what treatments you would most like to eliminate. Think of the offerings outside of dentistry and build your dental life around those. Would you like to take a month off at a time? Would you practice 3 days a week with a week off every month? The choices are yours.
If you like what you heard on today's show and are curious about how our systems can be customized for your practice, schedule a call to speak with one of our doctor coaches. Simply go to blatchford.com/call. No pressure, no BS, just an honest conversation to see if we can help you. Over the years, more than 4,000 dentists made this same call and discovered how Blatchford coaching transformed their profitability, their practice, and their lives. Go to blatchford.com/call. Thanks for listening.